everyone, and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. So today I'm making a more rustic craftsman styled home, and I really wanted to make something like this because ever since the Laundry Day stuff came out, probably 3 or 4 months ago at this point, I've been wanting to make a more rustic styled home to really use the items from that pack, but I just haven't really gotten a chance to do that. And I've also been wanting to make a craftsman styled home, and I've been putting that off too because I was just having a little bit of trouble finding inspiration for that style, like finding, kind of house that I wanted to make in that style. But recently I was looking at pictures of craftsman styled homes for some inspiration, and I found this picture of one that I thought was really cool because it had this garage that was separate from the main house with a second floor above it, and then there was this deck going between the second floor of the main house to the second floor of the garage. And I thought that looked really cool and it'd be fun to try to recreate in The Sims. So I'll put a picture in of the house that inspired this build so you can see what I was going for with it. And in that picture, the garage was kind of at an angle from the house, but unfortunately that didn't really work out well in the game because the only angle you can make walls at is, like the regular, 90 degrees, or, you can only make it in straight lines or like 45-degree angles. So unfortunately, making it diagonal didn't really work very well, but I mean, it still turned out pretty cool, and I just really like how that whole area and the deck and all that turned out. Although, at this point in the video, you're not seeing that showing up yet. It was like, I think it was like 4 or 5 minutes into the video before I even got to trying to make the garage area. Because for whatever reason, it just took me a while to figure out the basic structure of the house. And that's because I was just trying to make it look detailed. I was also having a little bit of trouble with the roof. Like, here I was trying to have this deck off of this area on the second floor, but then I wasn't liking how I was looking with how because something that does bug me about this game is that when you have a roof and then you have a deck that's like next to the roof, you can't put railing in on the walls that the roof are on. Like, it won't let you replace the wall of the roof with railing, and I can't remember if you could do that in The Sims 3 or not, but that's just something that has always bugged me with this game because I would love to have railing going from the front to the, from the front of the railing to the front wall of the house, but unfortunately I can't do that because of the stupid roof, so I kind of have to just leave it like this. So it's one of those things where you just have to leave it and deal with it, although I think later on I bump it out, the deck part out like one tile, so that way I can have some railing going back a little bit in that direction, so that helps somewhat. And yeah, I think it also took me a bit to just kind of figure out the layout of the house because I was trying to get like the roof to look right from the front to the back. Like, I wanted the roof area covering the deck to be the same distance, so that way the pitch of the roof would be the same. So I had to do a little bit of adjusting with having enough space on the inside of the house and not having it go past the roof at the back of the house, if that makes any sense. Like, that diagonal area in the very back of the house went out past the roof, so I unfortunately had to get rid of that and reconfigure things a little bit. So the deck at the back of the house did end up being a little bit smaller than I had wanted it to be, but I think it turned out fine in the end. It's just this cute little house, and I was thinking that since this house isn't that big, that this would be a shorter speed build, but unfortunately did not turn out that way just because of how much time I spent on the house and on the details, like on the outside of the house and all of that, and then having to furnish the garage and the area up above it. So that's why this is like a 36-minute long video for this little 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. But I am really happy with it. Like, I just had a lot of fun trying to make this more rustic style house, and I'm really happy with how it came together. So I ended up using stuff from Laundry Day stuff. I also used some stuff from Jungle Adventure because some of those items really work well in more rustic builds like this. Oh, and something I did get stuck on with this house was the railings for the decks, because the one, the house that I got the inspiration from for this one, it looked like black metal railings that were, like, they're kind of modern looking, like, I guess, I don't know, I'll just put the picture in here again so you can see what I'm talking about, but they're just like more modern. It looked like metal railings, like they're black and just like thin vertical supports, or I don't know the proper term for that on decking. And unfortunately we do not have anything like that in this game. And I really wish I did, because that's a style of fencing that I think we're missing. And I think it'd be handy for a lot of different kinds of builds, because I feel like the railings are either super traditional or they're super modern. Like, there's not a lot of in between. So I was just thinking that'd be something cool to have. And also, we don't have the typical craftsman columns in this game, because if you look at a lot of craftsman styled homes, the columns will be like stone halfway up and then it'll be wood the rest of the way, and we unfortunately don't have that, so I couldn't really get that quite right, so that did make it a little bit more difficult to get the styling right. But I think what I chose in the end works pretty well. I didn't keep these columns that I have in here now. I ended up using the ones from Get Together that were a little bit bigger and I use them in a darker wood. Like, you'll see it later on. I think I might have cut out where I put them in, but yeah, that definitely looked a lot better than what I had here. And, oh, I did actually have, I think I talked about this before, but I did have another more rustic laundry day stuff type build that I started on, and then I accidentally deleted all the footage for the building of the build, so I just kind of scrapped it. But I was thinking recently that maybe I shouldn't completely scrap the build, like maybe I should just upload a speed furnishing video of it, because it was a really cool house. Like, it was this big rustic farmhouse style build, and it just turned out so cool. I spent a lot of time on the outside of it, so I don't really want to actually fully scrap that. So I think I might revisit that and just upload a speed furnishing of it and just kind of, explain in that video that I was stupid and accidentally deleted all the files. So not sure when that'll be up, but that might be a thing that I do in the future. Oh, there you go. There's the whole garage area right now. So you can just see that deck going between the house and the garage, which I think it looks really, really cool. And that whole area was so much fun to furnish. And I also used a bunch of those corbels, which are those little right angle things that I stuck around the roof area, which is such a funny word. Like, I don't know why, but corbel just sounds like such a funny word to me. Like, for some reason, it sounds like it would be like a breed of a dog rather than like a thing on a house. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just thinking of corgis. But either way, I really like the color scheme I have for the house. I mean, it's very neutral and brown, but I ended up changing so originally I just had 2 wallpapers from cats and dogs, but then I changed one of them to a more traditional siding type wallpaper, and I ended up going a little bit darker with it than I have the brown now, because I realized it didn't contrast enough as it was here. So once I switched it to a dark brown, it ended up looking so much better. Yeah, this one right here. And I just thought the combination of that with the lighter shingle siding from cats and dogs looked so cool. Like, it's just such a neat contrast. So, yeah, I haven't really, I don't think, like, since Cats and Dogs came out, I've used a combination of siding from that with just, like, a different kind of one in the game. So, I just really liked doing that. And there was something I wanted to chat about a little bit. So, recently I've been thinking about trying out making creative sims and townie makeovers, just because I want to have something a little different for my channel, at least, just to mix things up, so it's not just like building videos, like speed builds and let's plays. Like, I just want to have something else to throw into the mix. So I thought it'd be fun to make creative sims from time to time, just to work on my sim creating skills, because I feel like that's not something I'm particularly strong at. So I just wanted to become a little bit better at that. And I also thought it'd be kind of fun to like make backstories for the sims that I make for my creative sims. Like, I don't know, I just thought that'd be something fun, because I do like making backstories for Let's Play, so I think it'd be fun to get to do that a little bit more often as well. And I also really like giving sims makeovers, but right now I just do those from time to time when I need to in my Let's Plays. So I think we need to do that in a way that's detached from those series, even though I know everyone and their dog has done townie makeovers, but I still think it's cool to see different people's interpretations of what they think the townie should look like and all that. Like, I've watched several different townie makeovers from a bunch of different people, because I always think it's so cool to see how each person chooses to make over the Sims and how they interpret their personality and story and all of that. So I think that would be something really fun to try. And then another thought I had to go with that was maybe doing like a townie makeover home edition, which might be a little over ambitious, because I feel like it's kind of hard for me to do series around speed builds, just because speed builds for me take a lot more time, but at least renovations are a little quicker because you're not starting from scratch. So what I might do is just like, make over a bunch of Sims, and then from time to time I'll maybe like make over one of their houses and do like a townie makeover home edition. Like, I don't think it's gonna be like every time I do a townie makeover I make over their house to go with it, because I think that'll just take too much time. But I might occasionally, when I get in the mood, like go back and renovate the house of a Sim who I've made over, because I think it'd be cool to do that for Sims who have already given makeovers. So I was thinking that maybe the first time I do a townie makeover, I'll renovate their house beforehand, so I can upload a makeover of them and then renovate their house close together. But then after that, it probably won't be something close together. Like, for whatever reason, I just really want to make over the BFF household first, because I don't know, I like them for some reason. Like, I just think that'd be a fun household to make over, and plus their house is pretty small, so it'd be pretty easy to renovate. So those might be a couple videos that go up within the next couple weeks. I'm not sure how long it's going to take me to do that, but yeah, let me know what you think that, because I know some of you do seem to enjoy the makeover videos whenever I do them for my Let's Play, so I just think it'd be neat to be able to do something like that a little bit more often, and then also, like I said, like throwing creative sims here and there. Although I don't really have any ideas for creative sims right now, like I'm not sure what you all would like to see. So if you have any ideas, let me know, or I don't know, maybe like sometime in the future inspiration will strike and I'll get an idea for that, because I kind of more so want to do creative sims of like just sims in general, like not necessarily just like themes, but just, you know, here's a sim and then here's their backstory, like that kind of a deal. But I think it would also be good to do that just because those kinds of videos are a little bit quicker to make, so it'd just be helpful for when I have a lot going on in my life, but I want to make a video anyway, because it probably would be quicker to do that than to make like a whole Let's Play part or a speed build. Like definitely speed build, like that would definitely be a lot quicker than making a speed build. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited to do something a little different for myself. I mean, I know like it's not really at all original because so many other people in the Sims community have done those kinds of videos, but I mean, it's still different for me at least, so I'm looking forward to that. But speaking of having a lot going on in my life, I actually had a pretty busy week this past week because I had to go on a little trip for work to install a machine, because I've talked about this before, but for my job I sometimes have to go to sites to install machines or like fix things that go wrong, because I do work as a mechanical engineer. So part of like what we do is we'll design modifications for machines and that kind of a deal, and then we'll assemble them and then put them into sites, and then we support them once they're in the site. So like if something breaks on something we put in, we'll have to go up there wherever it is and fix it. So for like the past 4 months at my job, I've been working on assembling this one part of the machine that, like, I can't go into the details like what exactly it is, but basically it's like the size of a car. So I was making this car size thing and like all the little sub assemblies that go into it and stuff, and then it finally was finished, so it was time for it to go to the site it's supposed to live at and do its thing. So yeah, I was gone for about 3 days for that, and just because of that, you know, I didn't really have time to make videos, but I actually really like doing that kind of work. Like, it's definitely really exhausting work, and there's parts of it where I'm like, I just want this to be over and go back home, but then it also can be fun, and it's pretty rewarding as well to like see this thing you spent months putting together actually in a live site being put to use for what it's supposed to be put to use for. So that part was rewarding, but it definitely is a lot of long days, because I would get there, or actually it wasn't a lot of long days, it was like 2 long days, because I would get there at like 7 a.m. and then I would be there till 8 to 9 p.m. So it was just long days. I was on my feet the whole day. It was definitely really exhausting. And then for like a couple of days after I got back, I was still really tired and loopy. So it took me a few days to get back to making videos. So that's why I haven't had a video up since like early last week. But yeah, finally back and getting back into things. And then I'm going to end up having to do a similar thing a few months from now. But I actually really enjoy the more hands-on parts of the job, because originally, like before I got this job, I wanted to be a design engineer and mostly sit at a desk using like Inventor or some other CAD program to design stuff and come up with like the initial solution to a problem. But I realized I actually just like the hands-on part as well, like putting things together. Like I actually in general just like to be able to do the whole process, like design and then put together the thing I design and then test it and then put it in the site. But I've also realized that it is really good to get the hands-on experience as well, because actually like assembling things and gaining that kind of knowledge can be helpful for design. Because I mean, if you've never actually put something together, like actually putting things together can help you to learn like the best way to design things. Because like there's been times where I've been assembling something and I've thought to myself, if this was designed a little different, it'd be easier to use, or you kind of realize like how designing things a certain way can cause them to break more easily. So I don't know, I think like just getting multiple aspects of the process is really helpful to, I guess, becoming a good engineer and coming up with the good designs and everything. But anyway, I guess I'll get back to the job now, or the bill now. I don't know. I just felt kind of like rambling about my job for a little bit. But anyway, at this point, we are mostly done with the outside. So I was just putting some of these hanging lights throughout the place a little bit. Like I thought it'd be really cute to put them on the deck that went between the house and above the garage area. I just thought that looked really pretty having it out there in that area. And I also thought it'd be really nice to have it on that more gazebo type area off the deck. But now we're on to furnishing the outside areas of the house. And with the exterior of this house, I really wanted to go with more so earthy colors just to go with the color of the build, although I did use some brighter colored plants to brighten things up a little bit, add a little more color, because the more neutral colors on the walls really didn't, they of course didn't really add a lot of color to the build, so I felt like it needed a little bit more of a pop of color. So that's why I used that green wicker color for those chairs instead of like making it a brown, because that definitely would have been too many browns and neutral colors. And I just really like that set of wicker furniture that came with laundry day stuff. Like that's something I'm definitely gonna be using a lot in future builds. Like I love the style of the items that came with this pack, and I think this was pretty much like the first time I really made a whole build using a lot of stuff from that pack, because I don't know, I've done a few houses since that came out, but they weren't really like solely focused on it. Like I think I've done that Speeble where I created my real life house, and then I also had that renovation of, it was like the Brindleton Bay or Bedlington Bay cottage, but I only used a few things in that one, so it's just fun to really get to put that stuff to use. And I was also thinking, like, this is another thing on my list of things I want to do, but I had a lot of fun trying to recreate my house in The Sims. So I do think it'd be really fun to try like recreate my childhood home in the future, because quite a few of you seem to enjoy that as well. So that's something I also want to do. Like this is a problem. I always have so much I want to do and not enough time, and I have this like tendency to overwhelm myself with things I want to do. Like I feel like I have all this time I don't have, and I have a tendency to overload myself and want to like scoop up a ton of things to do. Like I don't know if anyone else is like that, but I do that at work too, where I'll like ask for something to do and I'll be like, so if I finish that, what can I do next? And then they'll tell me something else. I'll be like, okay, but if I do that, what do I do after that? And I'll just like want a whole list of things to do, because I just have this fear of not having work to do. Like, I don't know why that is, but I guess I just always worry that if I don't have anything to do and I'm just kind of sitting around, then like people think I'm lazy or like a bad employer, that kind of thing. So I always want to have things to do. And plus, that's also like just the worst when you're at a job. I mean, maybe this is just for me. Like maybe it's not like this for everyone, but like for me at least, if I don't have anything to do, time just drags on and I feel like I'm wasting my time, and I feel bad like taking up time just like sitting there trying to figure out stuff to do. So I just like to have things to do and not feel like that. Then the problem with that is that I sometimes take on more than I actually have time for and end up getting a little overwhelmed, but no, that's something I'm trying to work on. So anyway, we're on to furnishing the area above the garage, which I did furnish as more of a game area, but you can also use it for like other things. Like it could be like an in-law suite if you have like a grandparent or something like that living with their Sims, or maybe they have a young adult child who still lives with them but wants a little bit more independence, or I don't know, there's like a bunch of different things that you could use this for other than what I furnished it for, because I thought of it as like a cool hangout area. But it does have a mini kitchen, so you could, for example, get rid of all of the other stuff in this room, just keep the kitchen and like make a living room in the front and then a bedroom in the back area. Like that would work super well. So I just thought this was a very useful thing to have in the house. And then I also furnished like you probably saw it by now, but I furnished the garage as kind of a workshop area with a fake car in it. Although I was testing some stuff on this build before I uploaded it, just to check that it worked, and I forgot to test that they could actually get to the workshop. Hopefully they can. That's something I probably should have tested, but if not, then oh well. Yeah, there's also a bathroom in this area, so that's another thing that'll make it really handy, is like a mini apartment. You could also maybe make it a kids hangout area, because this house unfortunately doesn't really have a whole lot for kids. Like I imagine it as being for a family that had a child and then 2 teens, because that's what I ended up furnishing the bedrooms for. So I imagine as a house where the family had older kids, but it could still be like a cool kids area, or like right now it would work well as like a teen hangout area. But anyway, we're on to furnishing the main house now. So I started this off with the main foyer area, and then that area that's off to the left of the staircase is supposed to be a big mudroom / laundry room, because I have not gotten much of a chance yet to really do a nice laundry room. Like when I did the speed build of my house, that had a laundry room, but it was like a dingy basement laundry room. Like I don't have a super fancy laundry room like in this house, so I thought it'd be cool to do that. And also we can now actually make a proper mud room, since the laundry day stuff pack came with some items that work really well for it, like shelving and stuff like that. So that was something I had a lot of fun making, but we're still just working on the foyer area in here, which I think is really nice. And yeah, I originally had those floors from Jungle Adventures, but I did change them a little bit because I felt like they were a little bit too busy for this house. Like this is a really small house, so I felt like having those large plank floors was just a little much for the space. But with the inside of this house, I was trying to go for more of a light interior, so it kind of contrasts the outside a little bit, but that's just, I just thought that'd be really nice to have it be a little bit different. But we are on to the laundry room now, so we got some light wood paneling in here, and then I use these blue tiles from Jungle Adventures, which I actually use a lot throughout the house. Like, I think everywhere where I use tile, I use that tile just because I absolutely love that tile. Like, it just really looks nice in any house in general. I just really like how detailed this flooring and that wood flooring looks. And then we're also just getting some of those wall decorations in, which I have not gotten much of a chance to use because, like, this pack came with all these really nice cabinets, and I've hardly put them to use since I got it, which is really disappointing me. Like, I don't think I've used any of these wall shelves either, but they're just so neat looking. Like, I think, you know, like, I was kind of, like, a slight bit disappointed when I found out that laundry had won the community stuff pack vote, because I was like, well, laundry's not terribly exciting, but I mean, it's actually really useful for builds. The items that came with it are really nice as well, so I don't know, maybe I was being a little bit too hard on the pack with that, because it definitely is a useful pack. Like, even if laundry isn't terribly exciting, like, I just love the detail that came with the items. And it is a much better pack than my first pet stuff, which I haven't even bought yet, because I honestly just don't really care about that pack, and I'm just kind of, like, frustrated by the whole idea behind it anyway, or, like, the, you know, like, just frustrated by how it was put out and, like, what was in it, so I just don't really even want to get it. Like, I might get it eventually, but, you know, even like a month after its release, I still haven't even bothered to get it, just because I was annoyed by how it was very obvious that it included things that were in the same set as cats and dogs. Like, you could put the things side by side and tell that they had the same color swatch, the same thing and everything. Like, I'm all for items from different packs working together and kind of having similar swatches, but it's just a different thing when it looks like it's literally a set that was split up. And I don't know why they did. Well, I mean, I guess I can guess why they did it, but it just feels like very, like, just like a blatant cash grab, kind of how they were just like threw a bunch of stuff together that was cats and dogs related, because I figure people are gonna buy it. Like, just even how the trailer said, do you have cats and dogs? Are you ready for more? Like, you know, it's like, are you ready for more stuff that should have been in the pack to begin with? And just a lot of stuff were recolors. So that just rubbed me the wrong way, and because of that, like, I've just been very resistant to even buy the pack. And I don't know why I'm talking about this in the speed build like a month afterwards, but I don't know, I haven't really rambled about that too much, so I just kind of felt like doing that. But we are into the kitchen now, and originally I had this darker wood in the kitchen, and I also used the cabinets and counters from Jungle Adventure, which I just really liked. Like, they just have such a cool kind of modern look to them, so I'm just glad to have another set of counters that I really like and that fit in well into a bunch of other houses. And they also did add in the island counter that goes with it in a recent patch, because that was a thing where I think they said that they made it, but then they forgot to include it into the pack for whatever reason, so they finally put that in a patch. And they also added in a separated version of one of the plant items, because there was an item that came with the Jungle Adventure that was just 3 plants clustered together, so they separated them into individual plants, so I ended up using those throughout this build a lot. So I think it was cool that they did that. And there was a plant item from Laundry Day stuff that was clustered together, so I kind of wish they separated that as well. But oh yeah, so first I used those dark cabinets, and then I realized that really didn't go with the theme I was going for with the interior, like just the whole light and bright look. So I ended up changing it all to lighter cabinets and lighting the appliances to a stainless steel instead of black, which just helps so much. And I thought about going back and doing that to the game area, but I figured I'd just leave that so it's a little bit different. But yeah, no, I kind of like the combination of the black appliances and those darker cabinets, because I don't really use the black appliances a lot. Like, usually I just go for stainless steel. So I'll have to do that in another build, like use white appliances or black ones just to make things look a little bit more dated. Like, I want to do some more builds of just dated interiors in the future, so probably do that eventually. And we're now into the living room, which is just very cute and cozy, and I just really like. So it just kind of continues the theme of the rest of the color scheme on the main level. And I did kind of like the typical, because I feel like whenever I do living rooms and homes, I do have like kind of a typical arrangement where I'll have a couch, and then I'll have a chair, and then I'll have like 2 ottomans or cushions or something like that off on one side, or I'll have, you know, like usually I'll have 2 things at proper like a right 90-degree angle from each other, and then I'll have like a couple of other smaller things, and then usually like a table with a lamp on it, and then like a standing lamp on the other side. Like there's an arrangement I usually do for living rooms, and this kind of goes like that, although it's a little different in a way because the standing lamp isn't where I would usually have it. I don't know. But yeah, so just adding a few toys and stuff in here just to make it feel a little bit more personalized for if a family was here. But this is a really small living room, so I didn't end up cramming as much things in as I planned to, although I did put a pet bed in here because I realized that I was trying to make this for a family who would have pets, so I should probably throw some more stuff in for those pets. And I did, like, after I finished this build, I did realize that I didn't put a litter box in anywhere, but I had all this cat stuff. So I ended up going back in and getting rid of the hamper that I put in the laundry room and replacing that with a cat litter box, because I figured we probably didn't need a hamper in there because there was some stacked up hamper items. And I know you have to have, like, I think ideally a hamper per family member, so there's probably not enough hampers in this house, but I mean, I guess that just means your Sims will have to do laundry a little bit more often, or you could probably just cram in hampers in some other spaces. But we were on to the second floor now, so we're just working on this main area that's kind of like a desk area. Like there wasn't really enough space in this house to have an office just because it's not very big, so I just turned this landing area in here as sort of an office. So we got the computer desk, and there's a bookshelf and some other stuff in here. And this is also the area you can go through to get to that one deck that goes to the other area. And I maybe should have had a staircase going from the garage up to that area, but that just wouldn't really fit in. Like I couldn't have gone up to come up with the right spot, and it just would have taken up a lot of space. So I just figured having the only way to get to it to be from this area would be fine. And then this area also has a little bit of a play area in it because we got the toy chest and then just some toys sitting in here. Because I have one 4x4 room that has a deck off in the front is what I ended up turning into the kids' room. But it's not very big, so I didn't have quite enough space for everything I wanted to put in there. So I just figured we'd stick some of that out in that area. So it's just a teeny little play area. But we are onto the bathroom now. And as I said earlier, I did end up using that blue tile in here as well. So I just kind of liked having that continuity throughout the house. And plus this tile was just really beautiful. Like I was just really in the mood to keep using this, as well as those jungle adventure counters. So this might be my new favorite counters, because like for a period of time I would just always use the Parenthood counters, but then now I'm going through a phase where I'm just always using these. So I'm probably just going to alternate between using these counters and the Parenthood ones a lot, because I just really love both of them. Like I really like the style that they're in. But yeah, for this bathroom we just got a separate shower and a separate bathtub, and I just really like how this turned out. I think it's really neat how you have that large circular window above the bathtub. Like that just looks so nice because you have like light coming in over the tub, but at the same time it's not like right there next to the tub, so there's still a sense of privacy. And then you got a little rubber ducky on the tub to finish it off. So now we're on to the kids' room, which I imagine more so as being for a kid who loves sports, especially basketball, because there's just a lot of basketball related things in here. And there was also a basketball hoop in the driveway, so I imagine that this is a hoop that this kid uses a lot. And then I also imagine that one of the parents is also into basketball and kind of got this kid into it, because when I furnish the master bedroom, you'll see that I end up putting the basketball trophy on a shelf in there. So I just really see it as one, or maybe even both of the parents are really into sports. Like I also use the bowling trophy, so maybe like one parent's really into basketball and then the other parent's really into bowling, or maybe one of them was into both. I'm not exactly sure. Like I guess you can kind of figure that out if you want to go with this after downloading this house. Although I guess it would have been good to include a gym to go with that. Although that is something else you could turn that area above the garage into. Or then again, I see them more so as like team sports people. So I don't think you necessarily have to have a gym in the house to practice that at. You know, like they just kind of go and bowl or play basketball. And you know, that's how they do it, I guess. But I still really like how this room turned out. Although it is pretty cluttered, and there I go adding in some basketballs just to kind of go with that a little bit more. So that's about it for that room. So this room in the back of the house is something I imagine to be like a teen room, or maybe a room for a teen and a child, like a child who's close to aging up to a teen. Whereas I see the other child bedroom having been for a younger teen or younger child, you know, like someone who had just recently aged up, and this is maybe for a teen and a child who's about to age up into a teen. Or it could be a bedroom for two child sims. Like there's different things that this could work for. And if you want to use it for child sims, you could easily just add in some toys to it and make it work that way. But with this bedroom, I did use that bright purple, which is not a wallpaper I use often, but I just like to use that one on occasion, just you know, for something a little different. Also, I just wanted to do something other than the light and bright color scheme we had throughout the rest of the house, just to break it up a little bit, because also I'd like to do some different things with kids' rooms than how the rest of the house is, because, you know, I see it as the parents would usually be the ones who pick out the decorations for the rest of the house, and then the kids' rooms are where they get to express their own style, so I kind of like to go all out with that sometimes. But I believe that's about it for this bedroom, so shortly we'll be moving on to... Right, actually, no, it's not. Almost at the end of this. I still got a little bit more furnishing to do, like just adding in some clutter, and I also wanted to add in a little sitting area since we do have the bookshelf, so I figured it'd be nice to have a spot for them to sit at and read. And then I did stick a wardrobe over in here because I figured with two Sims sharing the room, like, you'd want a little bit more clothing storage space, although that doesn't even matter in the game, but just for, like, realism's sake, I thought that would be a good thing to add in. So now we're on to the master bedroom, and this in the bathroom is the last thing that I furnished. So yeah, I just went with a lot of darker woods in this room, and I really like how this room turned out. Like, I just feel like it's very cozy. I also just really like that bed and how this rug looks in it. Also, that ottoman that came with the laundry day stuff, I really like that. Like, I almost forgot that came with the pack, but that is just such a beautiful looking ottoman, and I just love how it goes with this room and how it looks at the foot of the bed. And something kind of funny is that when I was furnishing this room, I completely forgot that there's a bathroom off of this room until the very end. So as you see, I stuck the bed and the nightstand completely in front of the bathroom. So right now there's no way to get into the bathroom. And then at the very end, like, you'll see me pause a little bit while looking down over the bathroom. And that's when I was like, oh, there's a bathroom off this room. I should probably make a way for them to get into this. So I unfortunately had to delete one of the nightstands and put a door in there instead, so there's only a nightstand on one side of the bed, which bugs me a little bit, but oh well. I didn't want to rearrange the whole room just to have access to the bathroom, so I just kind of had to work with it and do that. But I just thought it was kind of funny that I furnished this entire room completely forgetting that that was the case. I think we're actually almost done with furnishing this room. Yeah, I'm just sticking some stuff up on the shelf. So these are the trophies that I was talking about earlier, and I just thought it'd be really cute to have this little knick-knack shelf. So, oh yeah, there's where I realized that there was a bathroom off of here, so we're just deleting things now. But anyway, we're almost at the end of the building part of the video, so as usual, I just want to mention that if you want to download this, there'll be a link to do so in the description. There'll be stuff in there on how to find it in-game. And that's going to be all for me, so I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.